What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Battlelands video, and today I'm ranking every gun, but since a lot of YouTubers have done this, I want to put my own spin on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rank every gold gun and every gray gun in the game. Let's get into it. Next up, we have the SMG. This gun doesn't have 100% accuracy, horrible damage, same fire rate as a gun that does one more damage than that, which I will never understand. It's honestly just an all-around horrible weapon. Next up, we have the Peacemaker, and I feel like this isn't horrible because you can get kills with it early game, unlike the gray SMG, but it's still a bad gun. Next up, we have the double barrel shotgun. Now, this is very situational. In some situations, if you're really close and nail your shots, it can be decent, but I really just think it gets way overshined by every other weapon. Next up, we have the golden SMG, just like the SMG, just a tiny bit better. Next up, we have the sniper. Now, this is a weird pick for a lot of you guys. You probably aren't expecting it, but it's really not that good, unless it's kind of a spammy weapon. You see it picked up a lot in scrims, but those people always die, I feel like, and I really feel like it's just not that useful in public matches. Next up, we have the golden Peacemaker. Now, if you're hitting 16 damage crits with this thing, it can shred sometimes, but it's nothing you're carrying into late game. Next up, we have the golden sniper. This is barely better than the other sniper. And, I mean, this is kind of the point where I start, thinking, yeah, if I have to, I'll carry these weapons into late game. Of course, I want the better stuff, but these can work. Next up, we have the shotgun, which doesn't see as much use as it used to. Season 1, even early first half of Season 2, this thing was exclusively the best weapon by a ton, until the Scar came out. Still a really useful weapon, in my opinion. Next up, we have the golden double barrel. It's alright, has its uses, but it's nothing, it's not my favorite, but, I mean, house camping with this thing can shred. Next up, we have the minigun. The most useful time for this is small in-game circles, especially, if it's in a house, near a house, something like that, and no one left has a shotgun. You are almost guaranteed to win in these scenarios, unless the other person is a very smart player. Next up, we have the Scar, which is honestly just a shadow of its former self when it did 11 damage. That was the most insane thing ever. Now it has a 1.5 headshot multiplier and only does 9 damage. But in public matches, it's still probably the most used weapon, although the car is sort of catching up with it nowadays. Next up, we have the AR. I have a really old video on my channel, probably from Season 3 or 4, and the stats haven't changed since then. My opinion's the exact same. Watch that video if you want to know why the AR is better than the Scar, but it is. Next up, we have the golden shotgun. With a 5 pellet spread and an extra damage per pellet for 6 pellets, right? No, 8 pellets. You end up doing 48 damage with this thing. It's absolutely insane, and especially in squads. I think I have 11 solo squad wins this season. 5 of them were with the golden shotgun. That's just how dominant it is in that game mode, especially. Next up, we have the golden Scar. This thing does an extra damage per shot. It helps it a ton. This gun is honestly insane with it. I'll pick this gun up over so many other things. It's just so rare and so amazing. Next up, we have the golden AR. This thing does 7 damage a shot. I think 14 damage something damage headshots, maybe 11, and it is so powerful. If you just spray somebody down, there's nothing that can outspray it except maybe a gold minigun. It's absolutely insane. Next up, we have the bazooka. I feel like this is a really useful weapon, but it's fallen off a bit with the skill level of the average player rising over time, and people know how to strafe these. The hitboxes are still kind of broken, but I feel like people are picking up quadzookas and cars more often now. Next up, we have the golden bazooka. Well, this is really good. It's just as good as the bazooka, really. It only does 5 more damage. Sure, that makes it a 2-shot on a 150 health opponent, but I really don't think it changes the weapon that much. Next up, we have the golden minigun. Well, this is a really good weapon. I mean, I'm a little bit biased. I honestly love this weapon. It can spray down any opponent. It has a 40 DPS. Even if its bloom is pretty bad, it just shreds through anyone. Next up is the quadzooka. I feel like the car, and the scar are the only 3 commonly used weapons in final circles and scrims. And it's for good reason. The quadzooka, 20 damage per shot. Those are big shots. You hit one, that's pretty good. It can hit through walls too. It's pretty amazing. Oh, for the top 3. First up, we have the last, not gold weapon, the Kar 99. This is probably the most skilled weapon in the entire game. I mean, it takes a ton of skill to use. Long-range fights, almost everybody in scrims, as long as they can find one, is carrying one. It's absolutely crazy. Next up, we have the golden car. While it doesn't really affect it, it's technically better than the other car. Gets second place, barely really. Now for the first out of all 22 weapons. The golden quadzooka. 4 shots, a 100 health opponent. Can hit through walls. It's incredibly rare, and therefore if you find one, you're almost guaranteed to win as long as you're a semi-decent player. This thing is probably the most broken gun we will ever see in this game. It's absolutely crazy. Well, that's it, guys. If you agreed with my rankings or disagree, let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear your opinion. And, I mean, that's about it. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe.